In the Hung King Dynasty, there was a woman in a small village. She was very old but had never given birth to any child. One day, the woman went to her fields and saw a stranger with footprints on the ground. It was a great big footprint that surprised her, and she screamed. "Alas, this footprint is so big," she said. Then she found a way to put her foot into the footprint. When she did, her body suddenly trembled. After that, she got pregnant. Nine months later, she gave birth to a little boy and named him Giong. Giong was extraordinary. Though he had reached the age of 3, he couldn't speak, sit up, or cry, or smile. He just kept lying on the bed and ate. During that time, their country was under attack by their neighbor country and soldiers were merciless, leaving destruction wherever they went. Houses were ruined, fields were set on fire, and people were killed. The aftermath was a mess of corpses, blood, and ashes. Hung King had ordered generals to go and fight against soldiers, but no one could prevent their advances. It made him worried, and he had to order a messenger to find a person who could help him fight against soldiers. One day, a messenger went to Giong's village. Giong's mother was holding him in her arms. She looked at him and said, "My son, you grow up so slowly. When will you be able to help our king fight against our enemies?" Suddenly, Giong spoke. "Mother, please invite the messenger to our home." Then Giong turned speechless right after that. Giong's mother felt surprised. She found a way to talk to her neighbors about the strange thing. "Why don't we invite the messenger here? We will know what he wants after that," said one of their neighbors. They agreed and went out to invite the messenger. The messenger came to Giong's home. He looked at Giong and said furiously, "You are only a 3-year-old child. What do you invite me there for?" Giong didn't scare. He replied to the messenger clearly, "Please come back to the castle, tell Hung King to make me an iron horse, an iron sword, iron armor, and an iron hat. When I have these things, I will help him expel the enemies." All people there turned surprised as they heard Giong speak. They believed that Giong was a deity who came from heaven to help them attack the enemies, while the messenger rode instantly toward the castle and reported to Hung King. Hung King was very happy. He immediately ordered the greatest blacksmiths to make all things Giong needed in a hurry. Only a short time later, all things were made. However, they were too heavy to lift. A dozen people couldn't bring the iron sword. Hung King had to order 1,000 soldiers bring the things to Giong. On the other hand, Giong's mother felt confused as she heard that all things her son needed had been made. She talked to Giong, "My son, my poor son, fighting our enemies isn't a joke. Things you ordered are being brought here. What do we have to do now?" "Mother, please don't worry. It is my duty fighting against our enemies. However, I need to grow up now. Please help me to cook a great meal," Giong said. Giong's mother found her largest pot and cooked Giong a pot of rice. Giong ate the rice in seconds. He still felt hungry. His mother managed to cook again and again while Giong seemed not to stop eating. When he finished the 10th pot of rice, he had transformed into a burly man. The rice in his house was over while he still didn't feel satisfied. Giong's mother rushed to their neighbors and asked them to help. The neighbors hurriedly brought a lot of rice, meat, fruits to their house and stacked them in the yard on his house. Giong kept eating while the neighbors kept bringing food to serve him. Giong grew up very fast. It made the clothes his mother helped him put on could only stay on his body for a few minutes. They were torn after that. At last, Giong stopped eating. He stood up and stretched. At that time, he turned gigantic in front of people's eyes. His head reached the roof. His voice turned loud. "I am a general of heaven," he thundered. The soldiers had brought all things to his home. They laid them in their yard and waited there. Giong walked out. He wore the iron hat and armor, took the iron sword. He said goodbye to his mother, then mounted on the horse. The iron horse took off its front legs, roared up. 2 flames puffed out from his nostrils. Then Giong and his iron horse ran toward the battlefield. Giong rushed into the crowd of An's soldiers. He grabbed his sword and swung it at his enemies' necks while his horse spewed out violent fire, burning their enemies. Later, there was much smoke, fire, ashes, and a lot of corpses on the battlefield. However, the great general of An kept forcing his soldiers to surround and kill Giong. Giong killed all of them. Then Giong's iron sword suddenly broke. He didn't feel nervous. He pulled up bamboo trees which stood beside the road and swung them toward An's soldiers. An's soldiers were frightened. They scattered, ran everywhere to save their lives. After that, they surrendered. Giong killed the great general of An. He tied up the remaining of An's soldiers, then escorted them to Hung King. After that, Giong went to the top of Mount Saksan, took off his iron hat and armor, left them there. Then he and his iron horse flew up into the sky. To thank Giong, people who lived in the country built a temple in the village where Giong was born. They called him God Giong and worshipped at the temple. Thanks for being enchanted with us. Subscribe for more magical tales. Hit the bell so you never miss the enchantment.